How you doing? Christopher James here at World Series of Fighting 15 in Tampa, Florida at the USF Sundome. And with me is my former employer from the XFC. He is now the Vice President of East Coast Operations for the World Series of Fighting. He is the one and only John Prisco. John, it's kind of weird to be talking to you in this capacity today.
It's kind of weird to be in this capacity.
I mean, last time I spoke to you in this arena, you were still running the XFC.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about any of that, why you left?
Well, you know, they were so busy and focused on Latin America that North America I felt was being ignored. So I started exploring my options. World Series of Fighting was one of the few promotions that I was willing to, let's say, come out of retirement for.
So is there any animosity now between you and XFC as you walked away? Because I know there was some inner working stuff that I know about personally that I'm not going to divulge unless you do, that kind of soured you a little bit on the people you were working with.
Well, I'm going to try to take the high road, Chris, and you know, not really comment on it. But I'm not going to lie and say I wasn't disappointed with how things turned out.
Well, you know, and speaking of them, and this will be the last thing I address with them, you know, they tried to stop a fighter tonight from making an appearance. They said they filed a lawsuit to stop your title fight tonight with Jessica Aguiar and Faria.
Yes. You know, even when I was president of XFC, it was when there was an opportunity like a World Series of Fighting that would come, or you know, UFC, and want to reach out and maybe take one of our fighters for a fight, I was really quick to give that release. I just don't want to stand in the way of a fighter's career, and I think it was a good move for Faria to come here and fight Jag. It's an opportunity to fight the #1 strawweight in the world, so how could you not take it? I'm a little disappointed that the guys over at XFC reacted the way they did.
Well, and with this lawsuit that they're filing, you know, from what you know about it, do they really have any teeth in this, or is it just going to get swept under the rug? Because based on my research, their documentation is false.
Well, I don't know, and you know, I guess the courts can hash it out. I personally don't think there's going to be a lawsuit. I think there's a lot of bluster right now, but I think it's going to go away.
All right, now let's get let's get to the real meat and potatoes, man. What exactly is your role going to be now with World Series of Fighting? You know, they are, you know, to most people, they're the #3 promotion right now behind the UFC and Bellator, but they are making ground up really quickly. And with the transition at Bellator with Coker, this is a great opportunity for World Series of Fighting to cement themselves as the legitimate #2. What's going to be your involvement?
To get him to #2, to help get him to #2, and then hopefully, you know, to compete on a level playing field with UFC. It's a great promotion. There's a lot of expected, you know, growth with this company, and I'm looking forward to what 2015 brings.
Now, with the roster they have, they've got a vast array of talented fighters. Some former UFC stars, some former Bellator fighters, some homegrown talent, and now some former XFC fighters. Yeah. And you know, like I said, they're homegrown talent. What do you think of the roster as you come in here now? Because basically, this is your second show with them, but the first one you've really been at. So you've had time to examine the roster, compare it to maybe one of your best rosters from XFC.
Well, I think XFC at one time had maybe, you know, one of the best rosters in MMA. I do like the roster at World Series of Fighting. Looking forward to maybe help find some up-and-coming superstars in the industry, maybe bring over some XFC fighters to this organization. You know, it's tough. You got to try to keep people busy. So that's that line you walk, you know, and hopefully we can walk that line, keep fighters busy, and be a good home for many fighters out there. Yeah.
Now, one of the things you've always been excellent at, and I know this from my personal experience working with you, was finding the right talent, matching the fights correctly. Now, Ali is the matchmaker here. Are you working in unison with him to help him, you know, especially on this local card here in Florida? And as time goes on, are you going to be working more closely with him in that area?
Well, I matched the undercard on this show, and managed to get Eric Reynolds on the TV side, fighting George Patino. So, you know, we got Troy Gerhardt, Eric Reynolds, and Reggie Pena on this card, all XFC fighters. So I'm looking forward to trying to influence a little bit on some of the fights that are picked, and I know where there's a lot of superstars, and a lot of them were on our roster at XFC, and I'm looking forward to maybe move some of them over and find other fighters out there. And I think Ali, you know, we'll work closely together.
That's awesome. Now, and what do you think about the crew here? You know, you've got Ray Sefo, Sugar Ray Sefo, Sean, you've got Ali. They've got a really good crew in place right now as they really move forward into taking that #2 spot. How does it make you feel to work with this great crew?
I think it's a crew that's worthy of making a run, which is why I came on board, Chris. If anyone who's been following me for years knows that I'm not in this for second place. So I like this organization. I like the fact that they want to compete. So I'm happy to be a part of it.
Well, listen, I know you got some stuff to do out there. I appreciate you taking the time, as always, to talk with me. Again, such a strange capacity because normally we were working together.
Yeah.
Now it's like I'm doing this.
Around the floor, and I'm not the promoter.
It's funny. I saw you walking around out there, and me and Matthew Gaither and I from MMA Madhouse, we were watching. I go, John looks a little confused because normally during show day you're running around and you have your hands and everything. Today you get to relax a little bit. How's that feel?
It honestly feels a little good. I think I can get used to it. You know, you don't have the stress of funding these shows, which can be quite costly. So that in itself will make me walk around with a smile on my face.
All right, and if you change your Twitter address, do you have a new Twitter?
No, it's the same. Don't ask me what it is. I'm not a Twitter guy.
Well, I know what your Twitter is, but we got to change it because your Twitter is John XFC, but we're going to change that. I'm going to make sure they get that done to John WSOF.
I'm a Facebook guy. People can find me on Facebook.
Yes, you can find him on Facebook, and if you're a fighter or you work with fighters and you reach out to John, John is one of the guys that does answer you back, and you can catch him straight as his name, John Prisco. Real simple. So I know you got some stuff to do out there. Watch some fights, some of your guys. So thanks again for taking the time.
Thanks, Chris.
And good luck with your new career, man. I can't wait to see what you do at World Series of Fighting, and looking forward to doing more stuff with you.
I'm looking forward to the challenge myself.
I'm looking forward. Well, it's not a challenge for you, John. You got this down. Just my opinion. So for John Prisco, I am Christopher James at World Series of Fighting, and we'll see you next time.